Hello, and thank you for your interest in the Cabanas Connection. My name is Sebastian, and I'm one of the founders here at the Cabanas Connection. And I wanted to tell you a little bit more about what it is so you can understand who we are, why we're doing this, and how it could benefit you and your firm. So I have a little bit of a 20-minute presentation to show you here today. And I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen and just jump right into it because I want to be respectful of your time. So I'm so excited to be showing this to you right now. So basically, I want to start this presentation by asking I want you to think about how many unqualified leads do you think that your firm gets on a weekly basis? I've been speaking to firms, and some people have been getting like 1 to 2 a week, and some people have been getting as many as 10 to 20 a week, which is a crazy amount of unqualified leads coming into your business. And when I say unqualified lead, I mean somebody who's not calling you about your practice area, or if it applies, somebody not calling you in an area where you can service. Like, for example, they're calling you from, I don't know, Spain or somewhere where your firm is not located and able to service the PNC, the potential new client. So, a little bit about us and why we wanted to start this in the first place. Our firm, Cabanas Law Firm, gets about 80 unqualified leads a month, which is about 4 a day. So the question I asked you before, how many do you get a week? We get about 20 unqualified leads a week. That's like an insane number of leads. So we're a family law firm. Our primary focus and the name of our firm is Divorce and Mediation Law Firm. We primarily service the family law cases. But we're still getting leads for personal injury. We get leads for criminal quite regularly, actually. Somebody wanted to sue WWE. Someone got their Lexus repossessed and wanted us to help them. Someone got banned from Publix because of alleged shoplifting and they weren't, so they wanted to sue Publix. And somebody called us in Spain to handle a real estate transaction in Spain. I'm like, the name of our firm is Divorce and Mediation Law Firm. How did you even get this number in Florida and you're all the way halfway across the world? Anyway, those are just some of the examples that we get. There's a tremendous amount more than that, but just to give you an idea of some of the leads that our firm was getting. And that was what sparked this idea to start this company, the Cabanas Connection. So we realized that the clients who are calling our firm are experiencing two main problems. The first one, learning what kind of help they need in what practice area. So, for example, our friend in Spain wanting the real estate case, he was looking for a real estate attorney, but he called a family law attorney. And in law school, I'm aware that you undergo some rigorous issue identification training to figure out what kind of area of law this person needs help with. That's kind of what we're trying to do here. Help the client, take them from what area they think they're calling for and help them find the area of law they're actually going to be pursuing. For example, real estate in my example earlier. And the second thing they need help with is they need help finding the perfect attorney to help them with their matter as soon as possible. Because sometimes there is a deadline. If you're injured, you have a certain amount of days to be able to create some sort of documentation. If you're served for family law, you need to find an attorney, hire that attorney, get the money to hire that attorney, and then respond to the court within 20 days, or else you're in default. Like, sometimes there is a deadline and there's urgency. So you need to find the perfect attorney for your case. And sometimes 20 days isn't a lot of time for somebody to really do their research and find the perfect attorney for their case. So those are the two problems that we are trying to solve, helping people learn what kind of practice area they need help with, and then helping them find the perfect attorney. So that's the solution. We wanted to create a nonprofit that helps clients learn about the legal process and then help them find that perfect attorney. So that is how the Cabanas Connection and my cool background was born. The Cabanas Connection is basically a free education hotline that helps people learn about the legal process and then, when they're ready, provide them with the optional referral to the perfect attorney to help them handle their case. Perfect based on their criteria. So our motto, know your rights, get support. It's empowering you with education. And then when you're ready, we'll help you find someone who can help you see your case through. So what are clients looking for in their perfect attorney? This is the main criteria that we realize that clients are looking for when shopping for attorneys. The first thing they're looking for, obviously, someone to help them with the problem that they have in their practice area. Even better sometimes if it's a niche. For example, like if I got in a car accident and I had a whiplash, and there's an attorney that literally only specializes in whiplash cases. And if it's anything other than a whiplash, he doesn't want it. That's a niche. So sometimes that is a benefit. Someone to help them with their practice area. A niche is even better. Someone relatively close to them if it's a local case. I know sometimes there's like federal cases and that doesn't apply as much, but maybe in the country, or maybe if that doesn't apply to you, but someone relatively close to them that if going to their attorney's office is important to them, they're able to find someone local and they don't have to drive all the way across America to go find their attorney. Someone who speaks their language. So, for example, if the client speaks Creole, they'll probably want an attorney or at least someone on the attorney's staff who speaks Creole so they can communicate well with that attorney. And number four, someone relatively within their line of budget of what they're comfortably able to pay. If this was something that your firm wanted to participate in, and you wanted to start sending us leads, and I'll show you why you would want to do that in a couple slides. But basically, all your team, either whoever answers your phone, you, your receptionist, your legal assistant, whoever answers the phone, or your intake company, whoever answers the phone at your company, as soon they would have to, step one, identify the lead as unqualified. They're calling about something I can't help with, or they're calling in an area that I don't service, if that applies. And number three, if there's like a conflict of interest going on, that would be a third like kind of unqualification factor. But yes, as soon as they identify the lead as unqualified, the second step would be to inform the PNC. We don't do that here. You called a, for example, family law attorney and you're looking for a real estate attorney, or even if you don't know that, just we don't do that here. But what I can do is get you over to someone who can help you. And that's where you would transfer it to us. And that's step three, send the lead to the Cabanas Connection, either via form, and I'll show you how easy our form is to fill out in a couple minutes, or if it's urgent or the person prefers to just be transferred immediately and just you can hot transfer us by calling to 954-250-8090. And I'll also show you how to bookmark the form on the easiest way to do it is to just bookmark it on your bookmark bar on whatever search browser you use. And then you can just click on that button and send a form immediately. And again, remember they mention your firm name so we can track your progress on the reports. And again, I'll be showing you that in a couple slides. How it works when you send us the client, so you get the call, send us your unqualified lead instead of turning them back to the internet. So like where you used to go, oh, go look at the Florida bar, go back on Google and look for this type of attorney. Instead, refer them to us. And then this is how our process works. We would educate the client. Okay, you called XYZ law firm and they specialize in something else. What you're actually looking for is this practice area. And so that would be the education that we do to help realign them to their specific issue and how the process around that would work. And then when they're ready, we would provide the perfect referral to that person. We would connect them with somebody in our network to be able to help them with that case via three ways. The best way, and with of course, this depends on the client's preference. So we're not going to do it one way every single time. It's whatever's easiest for the client because we always want to make sure the client is comfortable with this process. The first way and the best way, we would have the client live on the phone when we transfer them to your firm. So we would say, hey, it's Alfredo calling from the Cabanas Connection. I have John on the line. He's looking for help with a personal injury case, for example. John, this is Attorney Smith's office. I want you two to connect, and we would just transfer the lead to you hot live. That's the best way. And if the client is ready to go right now, that's how we would transfer them to your business. The second way would be if the client isn't ready, like right at this moment, but they still want that help and they're comfortable with you reaching out to them, we would ask the client for their permission to give their contact information to your firm. And if they do give us permission to that, we will reach out either via phone or via email, whichever is easier for your office. And we would relay the lead to you where you can call the client at your leisure, or someone on your team can call this client and see if it's something they can help, something that you can help them with. And the third way, if the client isn't ready right now and they don't feel comfortable with an attorney reaching out to them yet, we would provide them your contact information as the perfect attorney for their case. And then the client would reach out to you at their leisure. And we have some internal processes in place to make sure we call the client after a certain amount of time to make sure they were able to actually find help, either if they hired you or someone else, to make sure they were actually so we can close that loop and make sure that the client was taken care of, in fact. So that's how our process works. So I showed you a little earlier, our firm alone, and the reason this was created, Cabanas Law Firm and/or Divorce and Mediation Law Firm gets about 4 unqualified leads a day, which is 960 unqualified leads at the end of the year. That's 960 cases that our firm alone has had to refer out. So even if nobody else wanted to participate in this, this is enough volume to be able to sustain almost a full-time person just for our firm alone. And we have a couple other firms who are sending this amount of volume too. So it's been very well put to use. So how much time is our intake staff spending on the phone talking to these unqualified leads? So Sergio, the managing attorney at Cabanas Law Firm, had a policy where we always had to refer the client out no matter what. So our team would spend 15 minutes approximately. Sometimes it'd be 30, sometimes it'd be 5, but we would spend the time to take the client from where they are and refer them out. And that took 15 minutes. And maybe if your firm's doing the same, it probably takes about that, sometimes more, sometimes less. But if we had to do that 4 times a day, that's 1 hour of an intake person's salary, 240 hours by the end of that year that somebody spends taking leads from our firm and giving them away to another firm, whereas they could have been spending work on our firm. And at their salary, we have in-person people processing these leads. We would spend about $30 per hour for that person to spend 1 hour of non-business related activity, which at the end of the year would be $7,200 that we're spending on leads that are never going to hire us. And finally, the part that makes me look really bad at my job as the marketing guy, we're bringing in all these unqualified leads and we're paying about $50 per. That's a rough number. We're actually paying more for good ones. But if it was $48,000 at the end of the year, 48,000 plus 7,200 is $55,000 that we're spending on leads that are never, ever going to hire our firm. So you can see why we wanted to create this. TCC, the Cabanas Connection, is now an outlet to refer the people that our firm is already paying for, and it could be for you too. So there's going to be 2 reports. There's going to be an overview page and 2 reports, and I'll show you those in a minute. I'll show you Sergio so you can see what it looks like when you get a little bit of activity. But basically, the first report is going to be of all the leads that your firm sends to the Cabanas Connection. So the date they were sent, their name, what they were calling about briefly in as few words as possible, and whether or not we were able to connect with them. So that way, when we send you that, when you have access to this whenever you want, you can see where all those names came from. So if they're all coming from one marketing source, you can clean up that marketing source and make sure that you're limiting the amount of unqualified leads coming from that source. Or if people are referring you the wrong type of business, you could see where all those people came from, and you could say, hey, look, actually you're sending me, I thank you so much for your business, but you're sending me the wrong type of leads. Instead of sending me those, send me these. And that is an opportunity for you to clean that up as well. So that's the first report, the leads that your firm sends to the Cabanas Connection. The second report, which is the one you probably care about more, is going to be all the ones that TCC is going to be sending to you. So when we get a lead from either Cabanas Law Firm or from John Smith Law Firm, and they call us saying, hey, we don't do that, please help this person, and you're the perfect fit for that person, we will send that lead to your firm, and this is that report. So we would fill it out with, this is just the number, how many we've sent you, the date of which we received the lead and referred it out, the client's name, what they were telling us they were calling about. It may not be 100% accurate. Like they might go, hey, I need a power of attorney. And then when they get to you and they do their consultation, you're like, oh, actually, you need like a full trust. So it might not match. We would have like power of attorney here. So, and then whatever you advise them on your consultation, that could be completely different. So keep that in mind. Whether or not we were able to successfully introduce them to your firm, and then your firm would track just these 3 columns here, whether they contacted your firm, whether they ended up consulting with you, and then hopefully whether they ended up hiring your business. So we don't do anything with that information. We just want you to track it for your own internal tracking purposes only. And it also helps us make sure we're giving you the right type of lead. Because if we see that a bunch of people contacted you and none of them consulted with you, perhaps we're sending you the wrong type of cases, or a bunch of people that don't speak a language that someone on your staff speaks. If a bunch of people are consulting with you, but nobody's hiring with you, maybe there's something in the sales process that you could optimize to be able to close more of those people and be able to help them. Or for example, if we're introducing a bunch of people to your firm and nobody's reaching out and contacting you, perhaps there's something broken in the way that we're referring you leads. Maybe we have the wrong email. Maybe we're giving the wrong phone number to the client. Maybe there's a disconnect there. So that's why we ask you fill this out. We're not like the Florida Bar LRS where we like are monitoring this information so we can collect referral fees. In fact, we're a nonprofit. We can't even take referral fees if we wanted to. So that's another benefit. You don't have to pay us referral fees for this. We're literally just doing this for the benefit of the community. And the reason we filed as a nonprofit is people are like, well, why are you doing this for free? It doesn't make sense. The reason we wanted to do it as a nonprofit is because we want to be completely transparent with the clients and the attorneys. We are a service doing this for free. We're not charging clients for a list, and we're not charging attorneys to participate in this. This is completely to help the community. So we're just hoping that people will participate in this because it will save their company time. And as they start to get more of these leads, they're able to service the people that are calling these other firms, and they're in need of help, and we're able to send them to somebody who can actually help them. So our focus is always around the clients and around the firms too. So our goal is also mutual success. If you're not seeing results, this is the report that would be able to help us make sure that this is worth your time. And we put a lot of thought and effort into the report, and I'll show you that in a minute. But I'll continue with this presentation. So again, all we're asking is that you forward all of your unqualified leads to us, no matter what practice area. And even if they're in another country, if they're calling from Spain, we literally called attorneys in Spain, we vetted them, and we made a successful referral in a country where we aren't even located. So don't worry about the location. Don't worry about the practice area. If we don't know somebody, we have a procedure to be able to find somebody, vet them, make sure they're a good referral, and we can connect the client to that attorney to be able to help them for their case. So send us everything. Another question that people were asking is, what happens if I already have my network? I'd rather send leads to them than I would to you. That's totally fine. I mean, you guys have been practicing for many years. You've established relationships in your community. People send you cases, you want to reciprocate. That's totally fine. That's totally fine. This is a secondary option. If you don't know who to refer these clients to, and you don't have somebody immediately apparent in your network, or if you sent it to them and they can't do it for some reason, this is that secondary option to be able to help that client, even when your network can't. So again, if you have a network, feel free to use that. This isn't to replace your network. This is just to supplement your network and make sure you're always helping people that are coming to your business. And also make sure that the people that you're sending leads to are actually doing good work for the clients too. And if you find out they're not, this is another option to be able to refer clients to, and we'll make sure they're taken care of. The second thing is we just ask that you maintain a high standard of legal service. Just continue delivering exceptional legal service to the clients so we confidently present you to the clients as the perfect attorney for their case, and you service them well. That's what we ask. So when we send you leads, be communicative, be responsive to them, and just make sure you do good work on their case. I know it's pretty self-explanatory, but that's literally all we ask. You send us leads when you get the opportunity, and you don't have somebody in your network, and just maintain high level of legal service so the people we're sending you feel confident in our referral to you. Cool. So this would be the point where I'd ask you if you had any questions, but since I can't see you, sadly, schedule a time so I can, and then ask me your questions. I'd love to know. So where's this going? Where are we going to be in a couple years? Eventually, our marketing is going to be bigger, but right now we're a small team. It's me and a couple other people here on our staff. So we can't overwhelm this because we want to still be able to provide good client service. But we're at the point right now where once we start receiving more business, we can start to scale our operations. So we'll be hiring more people to facilitate the inbound leads. But right now, we're just focusing on unqualified leads from law firms across the state of Florida. That will expand to the country and then hopefully the world eventually. But right now, we're just focusing on Florida. So law firms would send us unqualified leads, and that would be our main source of business. We already have some SEO in the works. We're going to be posting it on our site very soon. Word of mouth, as people start to get good referrals from us, they will come back for more. They will recommend their friends. We will be getting leads like that. Social media, right now, we don't have a lot on social media, but there is a plan to start posting more and engaging with our audience more of people who we've been able to service well. Video marketing, we love video marketing, as I mentioned. We will be starting to do more of that. And then eventually we will do some in-person charity and networking events too. So now I want to show you something cool. Like, why are we doing this? Why do you care? What's it going to look like? Imagine the impact of having just 100 attorneys in our database. Right now, we're getting close to that. But imagine if we had 100 attorneys sending us their unqualified leads. If they sent it at a rate of one lead per day, we would be getting 100 leads a day, obviously, 500 a week, 2,000 a month, and 24,000 unqualified leads a year. Taking leads from firms that can't help them and placing them with someone who can. Just once a day. That's 24,000 leads for the year. That would save 6,000 hours of staff time. 6,000 hours that they could be not spending on dealing with unqualified traffic, but spending on your business at a $30 an hour rate. $180,000 we'd be saving the firms that are participating in this. So that's one thing to keep in mind. If all of those 100 people sent 4 leads a day, if they're, again, we regularly get 4. Sometimes we get 6, sometimes we get 3, but it averages to 4. If everybody sent 4 per day, and we have some like more than 5 people, I'd say, sending regular leads 4 per day, that's 96,000 leads a year. That's almost 100,000 people that we're taking from one law firm and repositioning at another law firm, and your firm could be one of them. The time on the phone, 24,000 hours of staff time being saved, and at a rate of $30 an hour, that's $720,000 that we're saving these 100 firms on their staff's time. So they could focus on stuff that moves their business forward rather than referring business out. So that's something that's really cool. I wanted to show you some big pictures. And eventually we're going to have way more than 100 members. Like, we're almost at 100 now. We will be more than 100 by the end of next year, 2025. So where's this going? In Florida, fun fact, there are 3.6 million cases filed. Why do you care? Well, I'll show you how this ties into our goal. Our year 1, 2025, next year, I'm recording this in 2024, literally 2 days till New Year's. It's the 30th. So we're going to be able to help 5,000 people come from one law firm and be repositioned at another law firm, educate them about the practice area, and refer them to their perfect attorney 5,000 times by the end of 2025. By the end of 2026, we're going to do that, but 3 times the amount. We're going to be able to help 15,000 people find their perfect attorney. And in year 3, we want to help 36,395 people, which is basically 1% of all the cases filed in the state of Florida. We want them to be educated and found their perfect attorney through the initiatives of the Cabanas Connection. And I think that's really cool. And so that's the 3-year goal. And now the 10-year goal, the BHAG, our big, hairy, audacious goal. It's a business term, and I think it's funny. We're going to help 10 million people find their perfect attorney by December 31st, 2035. So 10 years from 2025, we're going to help 10 million people find their perfect attorney. That's our mission. That's what we're driving this around. So we're going to meet more attorneys. We're going to get access to more unqualified leads from those new attorneys. And we will be able to refer 10 million people by December 31st. And I have every confidence we can do it. So this is all based on a premise from this book right here, The Go-Giver. If you haven't read it, I wholeheartedly recommend you stop everything and read this book. It's a very short read. If you prefer audiobook, I think it's only like 4 hours. It's an amazing book about it's a little story about a powerful business idea. And I can say for myself, and I speak for many of the other people I've recommended it to, it's completely changed our life. And that's where the idea for the Cabanas Connection comes from. I don't want to spoil it, but as soon as you'll read it, you'll be like, I get it. So I recommend that to you if you're looking for something to read over a weekend or something, or go away and go stay in a hotel. And if you're looking to, I don't know, do a little nice something for yourself, I recommend you read this book. It's beautiful and it will absolutely change your life. So again, if we were live, I'd ask you questions. And then again, I just wanted to show you this slide one more time. All your firm would have to do is identify leads as unqualified, inform them, hey, we don't do that here, but let me get you over to someone who may be able to help. And then you can send it to us either via form, which I'll show you in a minute, or you can call our phone number at 954-250-8090. And again, remember, make sure they remember your name so we can track your reports that I showed you earlier. So that's all I had for the presentation. Now I want to show you a couple other things. I wanted to show you our website. So this is our website. It's very, very simple. It's because I know some people don't like tech. We tried to make this as simple as possible. This is going to be how people find us. There's only two things you can do on this website. Either click this button or click this button, or you can click this button and then see this screen again. But it's very, very simple. You either click this button here with the really cool, like swiping red, or this button with the really cool swiping red. And then if you want to learn a little bit more about us, what is it? How do we work? Do you have to pay? No, it's completely free. But you'd click one of those two get started buttons. It doesn't matter which, they both do the same thing. And then it will prompt you, are you a new client or a law firm? You're a law firm. These are the exact same form, but new client, we have to ask them a lot more questions. So in the name of saving you and your team time, please click law firm. And again, we want to be able to track the stats. So there's one question in there that will be able to track it to you. So again, as simple as possible, we made it 4 questions. Who is referring this lead? So if you were from the Cabanas law firm, for example, you would put Sergio Cabanas or Cabanas law firm, whatever you want that we could identify as your firm name. Or if like you have an abbreviation like SSC law firm or something like that, or SSLF, whatever. Tell us so we can track it back to you later. But you would put that here, either by the managing attorney name, the law firm name, but some sort of identifying factor we'd be able to figure out, okay, it was from that firm. The lead's name, the person calling you, their first and last name, their phone number, so we can reach out to them, and then in as few words as possible, what they're calling about. So, and if you don't know, just put what they say. Like, for example, if they're calling about a divorce, but they're like going down the mediation rabbit hole, they're talking about uncontested divorce, and you have no idea what they're calling about because you've never heard the word divorce before, you could just put, they're calling about a divorce. And we would reach out to them and figure out what it is they're calling about. Or if they know, they're like, I'm injured, just say they're injured in a car accident or something like that. And then submit it to us, press submit. It'll show up in our system and we'll call the person immediately. Literally just 4 questions. So I'm going to show you now how to bookmark this. You're going to go over here. If you're on Chrome, I'm on Chrome right now, but I'm sure it's very similar. You could either click this little star right here, or if you wanted to save it to like a folder, for example, you would go here, bookmarks and lists, bookmark this tab, because this is the tab you're on, and it's going to bookmark the form page. You're not going to bookmark the main website. You can if you want, but you could bookmark this tab right here. Bookmark this page, and you could call it TCC or whatever you want. And you can save it wherever you want. You could save it to your bookmarks bar. And when you press done, you can see it's right there. So now when I'm just surfing the internet, whatever, I could see, oh, hey, TCC right there. And I could just get brought right to this form page, submit the form, and send the lead to Cabanas Connection. So super easy. That's our website in a nutshell. And then after you do this, it just says, thank you. Want to submit another? Very simple. Now, this is going to be, once we get in touch with you, or you call us, or we'll call you, I recommend you call us so we can add you to the system as soon as possible, so we can start sending you some leads. So Sergio Cabanas, he's one of the elite members. Some of the questions we're going to ask you about your business: how many years have you been practicing? So Sergio's was licensed in 97. I don't know, I can't do math, but he's been licensed for 33 years. So he has over 30 years of experience. He services all of South Florida. He doesn't do like Georgia, doesn't do New York, doesn't do Spain. So we would put South Florida. He's a firm. He has a couple other associates. There's a couple, you could be a solo. You could be a solo with paralegals, solo with legal assistants, or you could be a firm with multiple associates, and that's fine. So some clients have a preference. Are you board certified? Sergio's not board certified. Consultation methods: how do you meet your clients? So we do FaceTime, Google Meets, we do in-person consultations, phone, we do Teams, Microsoft Teams, WhatsApp, Zoom. However the client wants to meet us, we'll figure it out. We do offer free consultations. We don't charge for those. We have 2 different methods. We have free consultations, which is 30 minutes with an attorney, and they could get like some basic questions answered and figure out if we're the right fit. Or if you want us to come in and do like a full strategy session, so you can come in and see like where you are and where you want to be and how we can help get you there, that's a paid consultation. So that's going to be $297. So it just depends on what the client wants, but we can accommodate free. But basically, the free one is 30 minutes. The paid one is about an hour and a half, 2 hours, however long the client needs. We do offer payment plans and we do offer financing to our clients. So they don't have to come out of pocket like completely off the get-go. And that's fine. So those are the questions we would ask you about your firm. And the reason we ask you that is because those are the questions that we're going to be using to match your firm with the client as the perfect attorney. So we'll also gather like what languages you speak, what practice areas, what specialties of those practice areas. Like, for example, Sergio does family law. Within family law, he does divorces, he does quadros, guardianship, grandparent rights, whatever. He does all of those family law specialties. So when we have somebody calling about a specific specialty within family law, we can make sure that we can refer Sergio to them. So those would be the questions we would ask, where we would add you to our database. And then when somebody calls looking for that criteria and you're perfect, we will refer you to that client. And the reason I say perfect, I forgot to mention earlier in the presentation, perfect based on the client's criteria. Not that you're a perfect person. I'm sure you are. I'm sure you're wonderful. But not because you're perfect, but because you're the perfect attorney based on the client's criteria. That's why we chose the word perfect. And when we make that referral as the perfect attorney, you check every one of the client's boxes. That's what we mean by that. So, and then sometimes we'll send a non-perfect attorney, like somebody who's like meets all the other criteria, except this person wanted a free consultation and this person charges 150. Or you really wanted somebody board certified, but there's no board certified people that speak Mandarin in Sebring, Florida. So this was the best we could do. It's not perfect, but it's close. It's very, very close. So that's why we use the word perfect. I want to give you a little story on that. But those would be the questions we would ask so we can add you to our database and start referring you leads. And we're not just like blindly referring you people that you can't help, because again, we want to make sure we help the clients. And now I'll show you the reports. So you will have your own custom report, but this is Sergio's. So this is how many leads that Sergio has sent to the Cabanas Connection since we've started doing this. We started this about 7 months ago, this tracking on this sheet. So yep, 600 total leads to Sergio's firm. 50 people were referred to him. He was able to get in touch with 47, 13 people book consults, and 9 people hired. So that's good. He filled in this with his firm information, and I'll show you how to do this in a separate video. But basically, Sergio spends about $100 cost per lead. Time spent was about 15 minutes, I mentioned earlier in the presentation, so 0.25. You could read those there, but basically the one you care about is return on investment, to make sure that, hey, I'm investing leads to your business. I'm investing my time at my attorney rate. Is it worth my time? And this would be able to tell you yes or no. As a marketing guy, this is like all I care about in a marketing channel, because this is a marketing channel. It's a way to bring in leads to your business. So the value of the program to Sergio is $86,000 because of the revenue he's brought in from consultations, which is the 297 here. He's brought in at his average case value of 8,200, 73,000. Sometimes the cases are more, sometimes they're less, but that's like hard blended. How much he saved in intake salary time, $3,000. And the value of the leads that he didn't have to pay Google or pay Mark Zuckerberg with Facebook, he saved $5,000 because he didn't have to get those leads through the generic avenues like paid advertising or I don't know, anything else. So yeah, it's worth $86,000 to him. And his investment basically is the intake salary, because it's not like 0 minutes. They still have to spend time sending leads to us. But you can see like it saved $1,245 of that person's time. And Sergio has had multiple meetings with me about this. So he's invested his personal time at his attorney billable rate. Sergio never bills anymore. So even if you don't bill, like if you absolutely had to bill a client, what would your attorney rate be if we have meetings? And keep track of the time that you invest with the Cabanas Connection, so you can make sure that, hey, I'm not wasting my time with this. Sergio would bill, but he never does. And at $650. And how much of his time was invested? About 4 hours, roughly. I've spent talking to him about this and teaching him about what it is we're doing. I mean, he created it, but between the conversations we've had to get this off the ground, he's invested 4 hours at his attorney rate, is the time cost to his firm of $2,600, because that's time he could have spent billing or doing consults or I don't know, anything else. And so his total investment was $3,800 into the 86 that was brought into his firm on revenue at an ROI of 22 times, which is incredible for any marketing avenue. So yes, has it been worth Sergio's time? Absolutely. So again, the other reports I'll show you. The one column that I hid here was the client's name just for client confidentiality purposes. But we've been tracking how many people have been coming in, the dates they came in, what matter they were calling about, roughly. Again, some of these could be wrong. I told you, like, this person could have been divorced, but then he could have ended up being like post-nup instead. So it could have been different. Was the referral made to the Cabanas Connection, and did Cabanas Connection receive the lead? So we would check those. And then Sergio's firm, how many leads we have sent to his firm, what they were calling about. Yeah, these go back a little further because we were doing something else before and now we're doing this. Basically, what they were calling about when they called us, were we able to introduce them to Sergio's firm? Did they reach out? Did they consult? And did they hire? So you see, most of the people that we connect with Sergio don't necessarily consult with him and don't necessarily hire him. So it's not 100%. I mean, if it's 100%, please teach me your technique because you're an incredible lawyer. But yeah, so sometimes Sergio would get leads and they're looking for somebody who doesn't offer what his firm has. Maybe he's too cheap. Maybe he's too expensive. Maybe they wanted somebody who spoke a language that Sergio didn't speak as the managing attorney. Maybe they wanted somebody who was board certified. Sergio is not everybody's perfect fit. So Sergio would consult with some people. They won't necessarily hire. Some people will call and they're like, you're not perfect. I'm looking for something else. And then they'd come back to the Cabanas Connection and we would refer them to somebody else. So, but yeah, this is the one that Sergio fills out, whether they contacted his firm, whether they consulted, and whether they hired or not. And then once you check those boxes, those would automatically show up here. There's formulas. If you break any of them, don't worry, just reach out to us and we'll fix it. But yeah, you don't have to track any of this manually. This is the only thing you have to manually put in is this, and then other miscellaneous costs. Like, for example, if Sergio bought cookies for the Cabanas Connection because he loves them. I don't know, he spent $20. You could add that in here and that would go into the ROI. So yeah, you could add other miscellaneous costs here, no problem. But yeah, that's the reports. So referrals from your business, and then referrals to your business on this sheet. And this is the one you care more about because that's the ROI. So that's the Cabanas Connection. I would love to meet you, and I really look forward to having you join and being able to do business together. So if this is something that you think you're interested in, please reach out to us at that phone number mentioned, 954-250-8090, or reach out to that email. If you're watching this from an email, reach back out through that email and let's set up a meeting where we can talk about the next steps, get you into our system, and start working together. So I hope you enjoyed. This is the Cabanas Connection. And again, just high level overview. This is what it means to clients. To clients, what we're doing is we're providing them the education they need about the legal practice area they're about to go through and the perfect attorney referral when they're ready to move forward. And to you and your business, what this means is a place for you to send your unqualified leads when they're calling you and you can't help them, and another marketing avenue for you to add to your places where you're receiving leads from. So we will be sending you business. So again, high level recap. If this is something you want to do, please reach out to us. I look forward to meeting you soon, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.